Okay, Judy, today we're going to expand on the riff we did last week with minor thirds and major thirds across the strings. But we're going to start thinking about where the fourth and the fifth are too. So just to recap real quick, last week we talked about putting your third finger on any root and being able to reach the minor third above it with our first finger 2 frets back on the next string. So if our third finger was playing the root A on the 6th string, our first finger would be 1 string down and 2 frets back. And if we're playing a major third, our second finger would be on the root A, and our first finger would be 1 fret back with our first finger on the next string. Okay? So just getting the idea that if we relate that the root is on 1 string, and the major third is here and the minor third is here, we can also think about where the fourth is too, which is important when we start playing these riffs over the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. We're going to want to know where that root 4 and root 5 are as well, meaning where the root of the 4 chord is and the root of the 5 chord is as well. So let's take what we know about the major scale. When we play the major scale, we have a whole step between the first and the second, a whole step between the second and the third if it's a major third, but we only have a half step between the third and the fourth. So if we say that our root A here is played with our second finger, and we're playing a major third with our first finger, that means 1 fret above this major third right now would be the fourth. Okay? And that's the same on every single chord, meaning if you play any root on this string right now, you can find the fourth by just going on the same fret the next string down. So if you're on G and you want to play the fourth in that key, you just go down a string, and there's your C. Okay? Same thing on A. There's your fourth. Same thing on B. There's your fourth. And C. You can always find the fourth by just going down 1 string. Now, let's make an exercise out of it though. Let's include that major third. So put our second finger anywhere. We'll start on the G. Second finger's on G. I want you to play the root G. Then I want you to play your first finger on the major third. So both of those notes right now are in the chord G. Alright? Now, because we started on G here, just take your second finger and now put it down on the fourth, 1 fret above your major third, and you got the 4. So you went. Now this note right now is not part of the G chord. Okay, so you're going to feel it. It's going to create some dissonance, but it's still going to sound neat. So we go back to the G, play the major third above it, play that fourth, then I want you to come back down to the third, and back down to the root. So you went G, B, C, B, G. Okay, I'm just saying the notes right now because I want you to think about them to make sure you know you're putting the fingers in the right place. But you can do that same thing and not know the names of the notes. Let's move it up to the A now. Second finger plays the A, and then you play a major third above that, and then play the fourth, and back down to the third, and down to the root A again. So on the A again. Let's do the same thing on B. Root B, first finger plays the major third, put down the fourth, back down to the third, and then down to the root B again. One more time. Alright, let's do it on C. And then the D. Root, major third, fourth, major third, root. Okay? Now that won't always sound great on every chord right now because what that really does, this is just, I didn't explain this earlier, but I might put it out there for you. Whenever you play that fourth note, that's like playing a neighbor note when you're playing the notes of the chord. Okay? So this is in the chord, so in a G chord. This is in a chord, this is in the chord, but then you're playing a neighbor note and coming back down to the note that's in the chord. So hopefully that'll make a little more sense. But what we can do with that right now is, that's just an exercise just to have you thinking about where these notes are relative to the root. But if you know where the fourth is relative to the root, then you also know where the fifth is. Because thinking about the major scale, Between the first and the second is a whole step. Between the second and the third is a whole step. Between the third and the fourth is a half step. But between the fourth and the fifth is another whole step. So whenever you know where the fourth is, you can always find the fifth scale degree as well. Now the fourth scale degree is the note that we build the 4 chord on, and the fifth scale degree is the note that we build the 5 chord on. So you can see, if you know where that root is, when you're playing the blues form, you can basically find anything you need if you know where that root is, the main root. So let's go back a second and let's think about it in terms of the G. So we got the G, and if you know where the G is, you can find the 4. And if you know where the 4 is, you can find the 5 by going up a whole step. Okay? Come back down to the 4, and then back down to the 1. Okay? Now, just for the sake of having a jam track to play along with, actually, I'm going to pause this and come back and play a jam track so we can both play with it real quick. Okay, hold on.